Firefighters have been working nonstop since this fire started. We've been watching dozens of helicopters dropping down right next to us here on Otay Lake, filling up these containers with water to then go drop on the ridges right behind us. Thanks to these impressive water drops and the winds calming down, crews continue to make progress, but it hasn't been without a lot of challenges. As we've been driving through this mountainous area, we've seen crews working really hard, hiking up steep terrain. All of these hills are covered in this dry, thorny brush they have to cut through. We just spoke with a retired fire captain with decades of experience in this area. He explained to us that a lot of this brush out here is oily. So when it burns, that oil acts as an accelerant. On top of that, he says there are all kinds of other things that make these mountains such a tough place to fight a fire.
The thing that a lot of people don't realize is that these are wild conditions out here. So there's rattlesnakes out there, there's coyotes out there, there's all kinds of different animals and bugs and things that you're gonna run into, and there's poison oak out there. And I've seen crews come back where if people are allergic to it, it can get into their lungs, it gets all over their skin, and they have some really bad reactions to it. So it's not just getting through the brush, it's all the things that are involved.
Some good news tonight. We have seen crews from all over California out here working together to try and keep this fire under control. And thankfully tonight, the wind has been pushing this fire away from homes. From the border fire, Madison Weil, ABC 10 News.
This is where immigrants who cross the border illegally near San Diego get their first taste of a new life, the trolley and bus stop in San Isidro. It's where the Border Patrol drops them after processing. And from here, they are off to all parts of the country.
Carolina Norte,
Atlanta,
San Francisco.
Nearly all of them claim asylum.
Asilo?
de Honduras.
Asilo aquí?
Aquí, de
Colombia.
Colombia.
Asilo aquí?
Sí.
I think 90% of them are here for asylum.
Starting tonight, that claim of asylum, specifically that the immigrant is in danger of persecution because of race, religion, nationality, or political affiliation, becomes harder to make. After the 2,500 apprehensions triggers the new Biden plan, none of these asylum seekers who cross daily between ports of entry claiming persecution will be allowed in country. A radical change.
Supposedly, they're supposed to close it off for any new people attempting to seek asylum, which they're legally allowed to.
Asylum itself, used properly, is a right in this country, right?
It's a right internationally.
President Biden has been reluctant to issue an executive order limiting asylum seekers because Congress could do a better job fixing the broken immigration system. The bipartisan bill that failed this year would have limited asylum, but would have also added judges and Border Patrol agents to streamline the system. This presidential decree does not. The right to asylum is federal law, whether you cross illegally or not, over a border fence or through the river or in the middle of the desert. That's why President Biden's executive order is in such legal jeopardy. President Trump tried it in 2018 and the federal court struck it down. And now the ACLU has already filed suit against the Biden ban. Jim Avila, Team 10.
It's one of San Diego's most scenic spots. The beach off 11th Street in Del Mar is a favorite among surfers. Blair Trumbull says he's been riding the waves here for almost 30 years.
It's got great waves. It's even got some sharks to play with and things like that. So it's a wonderful spot.
But it can also be a dangerous spot. The North County Transit District has long believed a fence is needed along these train tracks to prevent people from illegally crossing and getting hit. The agency wanted to build a 1.5 mile long 6-foot fence along the tracks to stop trespassers. People who live here put up signs against the plan. In 2020, they also started a petition gathering more than 6,000 signatures.
When you limit the access to the beach for the public, it tends to be a little bit of a problematic thing. So
it was problematic for the California Coastal Commission. The state agency filed a lawsuit. There was a lot of legal back and forth, but ultimately the North County Transit District scrapped its original plan.
This was always the inevitable outcome. The reality is that for decades, for well over 100 years, surfers, hikers, beachgoers have been accessing these bluffs.
The North County Transit District is still looking into putting up some type of barrier, but it would be about half the size and more visually appealing. The Transit District sent ABC 10 News a statement that says in part, NCTD has not abandoned the fencing project in the Del Mar area. The agency has opted to concur to allow fencing approved by the Coastal Commission.
Just be careful crossing the tracks, enjoy the beach while you're out there.
The Transit District says it can't provide any more details. Lawsuits over the matter still need to be dismissed. In Del Mar, Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
Hello from the San Diego County State Fair, where there is so much to check out, from mac and cheese and funnel cakes to meat just like this, to the exciting activities like the rides and all of the concerts. But it's perhaps right here, where the best part of the fair happens. The San Diego County Fair is now open for business, and so are the Swifty Swine. Sports betting not legal in California yet, but racing, it's allowed. Meet my new pal Sadie. She's wagering the whole piggy bank on the number 4 racing pig. And get this, she's already won the first 2 races of the day.
Round 4, it's going to be a tie when it will be number 4.
Do it again! All right, at our post-game interview with the 3-time pig racing champion, Sadie, how did it feel to win all 3 races you went to today?
Happy.
Happy? Why are you happy?
Because I got it right and I like getting stuff right.
Hey, way to go, Sadie. All right. You're definitely getting stuff right if you're eating at the fair today. Check out all the different options just walking down the main drag. But if what you're eating is not fried, it better be huge. Like this kid's turkey leg.
How'd that taste?
Great.
Once your stomach settles down, and that might be a while, there are a bunch of rides to check out. But you have to get on the newest one. Release the Kraken.
I was super nervous because I didn't realize how when you go like this way, you're basically upside down a little bit, like to the side, just looking down. But the view is super beautiful. It's nice.
Reporting at the San Diego County Fair, I'm Spencer Soisher, ABC 10 News. A parking lot at the Mission Valley Mall.
Here? Yeah. Really?
It's where San Diego police say someone reported a kidnapping attempt on Tuesday afternoon.
So that's makes me a little nervous.
Never in a million years would I expect that.
Police officers are on the property. But it hasn't stopped shoppers, though not a lot of people seem to know about it. We wanted to see how often incidents like this are happening. The San Diego Police Crime Map shows that in the last week there have been 4 reports of attempted kidnappings or abductions in the city. One here in Mission Valley East, another down I-8 in Mission Valley West last week, and then one each in Harborview and Old Town. The crime map shows that there have been over 200 reports of attempted kidnappings or abductions in the last year. But what it doesn't show is the accuracy of those reports and what may have happened. Today is a holiday, and we attempted to reach out to the police department who couldn't meet with us. So we filed a public records request to get that information. For now, things appear to be normal at the mall, though with heightened safety and awareness.
I now that you're saying that, it will be something that I'm thinking about.
Sure. Spencer Soisher, ABC 10 News.
I'm Madison Weil here at a church in City Heights. The pastor tells us that more than half of his congregation did not show up this last weekend because of fears of being deported. What's interesting is the pastor tells us his congregation is mostly Haitian. Many of them are here under a completely legal immigration program that started during the Biden administration. It's a humanitarian parole program that allowed certain asylum seekers from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to come here to the U.S. for up to 2 years under strict conditions. They needed to have a financial sponsor in the U.S. and be able to pass security vetting. It's similar to the Uniting for Ukraine program that some might be familiar with that allowed Ukrainians to come here after war with Russia broke out. Just days ago, President Trump announced an executive order halting the parole program. The pastor says he's worried for what this means for his church. Before inauguration on a busy weekend, there could be more than 700 people here, but this last weekend, they were down to about 200.
But we says like, why you guys not coming? What happened? They says like, because of the situation, immigration situation going on right now.
What will happen to them if they get deported?
A lot. Because some of them, they left my country because they targeted by the gang members.
The question is whether people who are already here under this legal program are at risk of being deported. According to a DHS memo obtained by ABC 10 News, they might be. The memo, sent out Thursday night, says that a migrant who has, quote, been granted parole under a policy that may be paused, modified, or terminated could be subject to expedited removal. I asked an immigration attorney who confirmed this means the decision will be made on a case-by-case basis. It's also possible that once their 2 years here expires, their parole will just not be renewed. I want to be clear, the pastor tells us they have not seen any ICE agents on or near the property yet, and they're not aware of anyone being deported yet, but it's something that we'll continue to follow closely. In City Heights, Madison Weil, ABC 10 News.
It is hot out here in Escondido, and I'd argue probably a little too hot for me to stand out here in this much longer. And according to the California Interscholastic Federation, it's too hot to play sports out here too. A new California law required the CIF to come up with a plan for heat-related illness, which means new rules for playing and practicing in extreme heat. Ramona High School coaches told us a few weeks ago the new rules had them delaying some practices.
Had to push back practices to, evenings and interrupting family dinners and whatnot.
It's all about safety, but the new rules and the measurements used are a little complicated. But the CIF has 3 regions. Here in Escondido, they're in Region 2, which means if the temperature gets above 90 degrees, you can't play, practice, or warm up. On Friday night, Escondido is hosting Torrey Pines here at 7 o'clock. That's the plan, at least. Here's what ABC 10 News meteorologist Vanessa Paz is tracking.
It's going to be really warm before kickoff. Temperatures will be in the upper 90s, and then we'll drop down to the low 90s once we inch towards sunset, which happens just before 7:30.
We reached out to the athletic director here at Escondido to see what they're going to do or if the game may be delayed. We haven't heard back. In the meantime, schools like Ramona are adjusting to the new heat-related rules.
May have to miss practices or not get the same intensity of practices. That's the dangerous part. But of course, we support the idea that we don't want the kids practicing in ridiculous temperatures and things like that.
Spencer Soischer, ABC 10 News.
It's usually the biggest purchase someone makes in their life, buying a home. Now that big purchase process is getting some big changes as real estate agents across the nation are preparing to be a lot more transparent about how much they make and who's picking up the tab.
A movement to create more transparency is actually causing a bit more confusion.
For me, when I first heard about it, it was initial shock. I was like, wow, that could be a game changer for us in a negative way, because now buyers agents that didn't really have to sit down with their buyers before and negotiate their commission, now they really have to.
After a $418 million settlement with the National Association of Realtors, the typical process of who pays for what when buying a home is getting a change. Usually home buyers weren't expected to pay their realtor's commission directly. That would come out of the home seller's pocket, normally reaching 5 to 6% of the home selling price. Now, that's not exactly the case.
And they actually want the buyer now to have those conversations with the buyer's agents and negotiate compensations instead of just having it done for them.
Another real estate shakeup is the visibility of commission fees. The agents helping to sell the home can no longer put the realtor's commission fees on listing sites, meaning realtors cannot find out how much they will be paid for a certain house by looking at a website.
And this is kind of why the whole thing came about, where agents wouldn't show property if the compensation was too low or no compensation at all. So now that there's no compensation removed from the MLS, you really have to have a buyer's representation before you actually even tour property.
For first-time home buyers, this extra step of signing a contract before you get to look inside can be a bit daunting.
I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer, right, you already got down payment, closing costs, all and the rest. Now is a conversation about paying your agent, and that's a game changer.
As for what to expect down the road,
yeah, it all depends. If sellers start to really be conservative on looking at the concessions or any compensation to the buyer's agent as a negative and not just offer it and not being open-minded, that could hurt prices.
Ava Kirshner, ABC 10 News.
Historically, the girls' basketball program at Coronado High School has had its share of success, but 3 years ago, things hit rock bottom. The girls didn't win a single game. The next year, they won just 1 game. And last year, they won just 3 games. But this year, with a third of the team never playing basketball before, the girls are 7-0.
And it was just a whole mess. We did not know how to play together, no team chemistry. So freshman year for me was very difficult.
Oh!
Meet Selena Herrera. The senior is the only one on this year's squad to have played the past 3 seasons. She's the team's second leading scorer, averaging 12 points a game. She said the Islanders have come a long way since she was a freshman, when they lost 1 game, 104-8.
So every year we've been able to grow as a team more, and like everyone's skill level has been increasing, and basketball IQ. So this year is definitely to get to playoffs, and who knows, I would love to win going out with a bang senior year. That would be amazing.
The coach behind the transformation is John Coolidge. He's a retired Coronado teacher and maintenance worker. He took over 3 years ago when the prior coach quit before the season was over.
The reason the program has changed is because the kids bought into it, the parents bought into what I'm trying to do.
And while it's been fun to win, Coolidge said the girls are experiencing much more.
Here you go, Sarah.
They play together, they hang out together, they trust each other.
Photojournalist Sarah Wemme reporting from Coronado. I'm Craig Harris, ABC 10 News.
This $2 million house in Encinitas was nearly destroyed by squatters who signed a lease to pay rent but didn't, and instead moved in, put their motorcycle in the owner's studio, locked her out of her own house, damaged appliances, and destroyed the pool.
And I had countless nights of nightmares of how they're destroying my house, and they did.
It took 2 years and $250,000 to move them out. In fact, they took total control of her home, even renting part of it out on Craigslist.
I always felt like I was a criminal. I got locked out of my own house. I couldn't go get a change of clothes, toothbrush with the cops or anything. And they had drilled this fence shut, so I couldn't even just access my own space. I did jump over the fence at one point.
Police told her it was a civil matter, and they could not help or even escort her into her own home. The before pictures are dramatic. 2 years of disrepair, and then 1 year of full renovation, and finally, this place is ready to sell. $15,000 to resurface, repaint, and fix the plumbing. She didn't know the pump was even broken until a neighbor sent her a video recording of the noise the broken pump made.
It looked like some sort of swamp monster was going to crawl out of there. I didn't know what was going to be at the bottom.
Team 10 has been looking into the squatter issue for months. We first revealed the troubles on Dale Street in North Park, which took a fire to get police to force the owner to board up and sign papers to allow them to evict squatters. 2 weeks ago, we were alerted to this house on Cotton in San Diego, abandoned and housing squatters.
And we're paying all these tax dollars and stuff for them to help serve our city, but they're not doing anything about it.
Today we asked the city's program manager for the Building and Land Use Enforcement Department about the difficulty in getting squatters removed. She recommends filing a complaint with the city as soon as possible and asked the landlord to obtain a letter of agency, which allows police to evict. And then, she says, be patient. An investigation will begin within 5 days, but it won't move quickly.
It'd take anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on what that scope is.
And as Mayor Todd Gloria told me, infringing on personal property rights is difficult.
The reason why this is often difficult is because it's private property. And in the way that you wouldn't want me rolling into your house and telling you what to do on your property.
At some point, Brandy Michelle Yandel might have welcomed authorities on her property. Her advice, do a full background check.
Full research on who you're inviting into your home, because it's like that saying with vampires. Once you invite them in, you don't know what could happen from there.
It can take years to get rid of them and thousands of dollars. Jim Avila, Team 10.
This small tattoo studio behind me has been crowded for most of Sunday afternoon. People are here for a fundraiser for Jamison Webster, who is actually a client of this studio. The tattoo artist telling me her and Webster were very close. They often talked about her son's struggles with mental health. When she learned that he was a suspect in Webster's death, she told me she wasn't surprised.
She didn't want to give up on him. She was a bright light in a dark world.
The Oracle Tattoo Studio is filled with memories. One's of 51-year-old Jamison Webster.
She was very helpful to everyone.
And one's of the night she died.
And this black car came racing down the street, and I was like, God, people drive like maniacs on Campo Road, you know? And then we hear sirens, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cop cars like chasing after him, that I didn't realize that was her car going by with him driving it.
24-year-old Richard Leyva is accused of killing his mother in a Motel 6 in El Cajon, moving her body to the trunk of her car and driving off. A short police pursuit ended with the El Cajon PD arresting Leyva. His history of mental illness showing previous diagnosis of acute psychosis and unspecified bipolar disorder. Saunders telling me Webster was still fighting for her son's mental health up until the very end.
I even said to her younger son today when I was giving him a little memorial tattoo, I said, you know, I wish I would have told her, you know, walk away, tough love. Like, but he's like, she wouldn't have listened. And I go, you know, I probably would have done the same if she would have said the same thing to me.
One of Saunders' favorite memories of Webster was performing her mastectomy tattoo.
And when she looked in the mirror, she cried. She's like, I feel like myself again. Oh my God.
Webster being a catalyst for other women with mastectomies to do the same.
And I told her when I had seen her again, just this last time, you don't know how many ladies you helped.
Just like the tattoos themselves, memories of Jamison Webster lasting the test of time. In Spring Valley, Ava Kirshner, ABC 10 News.